Hey everybody, Budget Prepper here. Today we're doing a little garden project in the backyard. As you can see, we don't have a very large backyard at all. It's just a small landscaped backyard. But over here in one of the corners of the yard, it's somewhat sunny. We're going to put in a couple of raised bed gardens. You kind of see, I'll show you some before and after shots, but you can kind of see we put in 2 beds. Both of them are going to be 4x8. We did use pressure treated lumber, and there are some people that are people say that there's arsenic in the wood to keep the insects from destroying it. This is the newer type of pressure treated lumber, and the people at Home Depot actually said this should be fine. But just to make sure, what we're going to do is we're going to line it in plastic like this and staple it up over the edge, so there's no way the dirt will come in contact with the wood. Just as a precaution. Probably be fine without that. So what we did is we put a couple of 4x8 beds using 2x8s. Got them leveled out sort of and put into place. And then we dug out the existing soil and we stored that across the yard. And what we're doing now is we're putting in topsoil and peat moss, and we're going to mix it in with some compost and steer manure and some other things. Now what we're doing here is the bed depth's going to be about a foot deep in all areas. Hopefully that'll be enough for most vegetables and stuff we're going to plant, but we'll see how that works with carrots and such. I'm not sure of the depth needed, but what we're doing is we're layering the topsoil and the manure and the compost and the peat moss as we go along, and then we'll kind of rake it and till it together as we go, just with the simple garden rake, and that'll mix it good without getting into the plastic with a shovel. We're trying to avoid poking a hole in that plastic. Perimeter guard is on duty. Now you notice my wife is doing most of the work, and that's because this is for one of her college classes as well, so I don't want to do that for her. That'd be cheating, you think? Plus I got a video of this anyway.
Yep.
So what I'm doing now is I'm mixing all this together, taking my feet and breaking it in, mixing it good. It's a poor man's rotary tiller right here. Okay, we're just about full. We're trying to fill it to about 1 inch from the top, and then we'll lap the plastic over tight and staple it down. So we're putting a bit of the native soil from one bed, because we have to dig it out a little bit more. Putting it over here, adding the last bit of the topsoil. And this is good, rich topsoil. Scott's, you can't go wrong with Scott's. Favorite pocket knife. I find and lose this thing all the time. I usually don't lose it, someone else usually loses it for me, but anyway, I found it again about a year ago and had it about 10 years total. Good knife. Okay, we nearly got the bed full. What I'm doing now is I'm packing down the soil around the edge, keep the plastic tight. Then we're gonna flap it over the outside around about 1 inch, and then we're going to staple it. Later we'll probably trim out the top with some boards, keep the plastic better in place and make it look a little nicer to be around. Okay, so the first bed is in place and stapled the plastic down, and looks pretty good. It's just about full. We may get a little better topsoil to put on it, maybe some Miracle-Gro mix. They make it, they have it at Walmart usually, not too expensive. And then, like I said, we're going to trim it out with some kind of boards on top to make it a little easier to to work around, put your knees on and such, and then also hold the plastic down a little better. I haven't mentioned before, but we do live in the middle of a national forest, this town, and so we have a lot of deer. And right now all we have in the back is a short 4-foot chain link fence. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up some, this is basically electrical conduit. I think they're 10-foot lengths. And we're going to put those in place. What I did was I drove a short 2-foot piece of rebar into the ground to hold the bottom in place. And we have very rocky soil here, so it's almost impossible to drive something too deep without digging a big hole, which I don't want to do. So drove the rebar in place, stuck that on, and then we're going to tie it into the existing chain link, and then we're going to stretch the deer fencing that we bought at Home Depot on here and hope for the best. The deer fencing is about 7 foot. It's a kind of a nylon or a plastic mesh, and it's supposed to work. We'll see. We have some pretty large mule deer around here, so I'm not sure if it's going to hold them out or not, but we'll see. I'll probably also maybe every foot run, it's basically electrical fence wire all the way around the perimeter of the fence to reinforce the fencing and maybe give that cheap deer fence mesh stuff something to attach to a little better in between the posts. But we'll see how this works. I have no idea. I haven't built the deer fence for them. They usually just come back here at will. They jump this fence like it's nothing, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we got both of the beds lined and filled with soil and peat moss and all the other stuff. And I started working on the deer fence. I don't know if you can see this very well, but got the uprights in and a few strands of wire I've stretched between the uprights. I'm not sure if I'm liking it. It's cheap, and this is going to allow me to tie the deer netting stuff on a lot easier and be a little stronger, but we'll see how it looks when I'm done. It's like I said, it's just kind of looking a little flimsy, and I don't know, I don't like the looks of it yet, but we'll see what it looks like when it's finished. If not, I may just start pricing out a wooden fence. They say wooden fence won't need to be as high because they say if a deer can't see on the other side of the fence, they won't try to jump it. So I get by with a 6-foot wooden fence and may add a little more security to the house anyway. But that's enough for today, so we'll continue this later.